Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video I will be talking about long distance relationship. The reason for this is that I've come across so many stories of this type of relationship, and it is for this reason why I've decided to create a few videos on this topic. Also, I've seen a lot of heartbreak. I am concentrating on this topic not because it's happened to me, but I've seen it happen to so many people, and I've seen the devastation that it's causing their lives because they actually reach a stage when they go on holiday and instead of thinking rational, the heart takes over and common sense goes out of the window. And you will often hear of people saying they've been duped, they've been tricked, when in fact, if you apply common sense in some of the situation, you will find out that sometimes you are at fault because you did not think. Long distance relationship can be challenging, and when it comes to maintaining a relationship from opposite sides of the world, the obstacles can be even more daunting. So the aim of this video today is for you to actually look at your situation if you are involved in a long distance relationship. You know, to assess whether or not you're in a love relationship or you are in a relationship where you have to provide for the other party. Are you seen as a commodity? These are the things that I want you to think about. In a lot of these relationships, you'll also find that the people that get married, there's a vast age difference. If you are an older woman past child-rearing age, you need to consider certain factors. No disrespect to the women who, for medical reasons, are not able to conceive. But I think when you actually go into a relationship and you've passed childbearing age and you're getting married to a man who's 20, 30 years your junior, you need to consider these factors because most men, no matter what culture they come from, they want children. Are you able to provide children? You will come across some men who will say, oh, it doesn't matter. But especially if it's a young man, most young men would like to one day have a family. Are you able to provide them with that family? Think about these things before you decide to take the leap. And you will find that whatever this relationship is based on, be it love, be it, the person having ulterior motives, in the end, love alone is not going to be enough. Ulterior motives are not going to be enough because once a person gets what they're in the relationship for, they will be gone. If you are not able to provide his needs, which the most fundamental need of these men is to have children, is to procreate. So if you're not able to fulfill that because you are past childbearing age, you have to think about that. Will you be able to cope with the aftermath of all of that? If you marry a man or a woman who is 20 years your senior, have you thought about the future? Have you thought about sexual relationships? Will you be able to provide that kind of gratification for your partner? If your partner is so much younger than you, are you going to be able to meet his needs? How long will you be able to meet his needs? The same consideration applies to a man who is in a relationship with a young girl who is old enough to be his granddaughter. The sexual appetite of a young man or a young woman will be vastly different from the appetite of someone who is 20 or 30 years their senior. So will you be sexually compatible? And how long will you be compatible for? These are some of the things that you actually need to think about if you are considering marrying a man or a woman who is years your senior. There are so many things to think about when you're in a long distance relationship or when you're considering a long distance relationship that will involve marriage. So as long as the aspect of the long distance, there's also the aspect of a vast age difference, which I think are very important factors to consider. I've heard so many stories, seen so many heartbreaks because people just go into these relationships and they don't think. And hopefully today, by listening to my advice about long distance relationship, it will help someone. And think about the reasons why, if you're considering marriage, think about the reasons why you're considering marriage. And also think about the reasons why you are being pressured, if you are being pressured into getting married. Think about the reasons. Because in some cases you will come across men who, because of their religion, will say to you, we have to get married. We must get married. And after the marriage, you'll be pressured into signing up papers, all kind of legal papers. You need to think about this carefully. This is not a joke. You are about to sign your life over to someone, and you cannot sign your life over to a stranger. If they're playing on your emotions, if they're manipulating you and, telling you how poor they are or they need medical attention and they have no money, is this what you would want to sign up for? Or are you patient enough to wait for them to fix themselves? Will you have to send for them in your own country in order for them to be financially solvent? Are you willing to do this? Is this worth it at the end of the day? These are factors that you need to take into consideration. If you are thinking about having a long-term relationship with somebody from another country, be it Jamaica, Africa, or wherever in the world you plan to have this long-distance relationship, I would suggest that you do this over time. Take time to know the person that you're planning to spend the rest of your life with. Careful consideration. Common in some culture that if you meet somebody, a girl, a man, you're supposed to get married within the time that you've met each other. In some culture, they think it's a sin if you continue to see each other, and especially if you become intimate. A lot of countries would think that is sinful. So in some cultures, people get married within the first week of meeting each other. Now, it's likely if you're coming from the West, things don't actually work that way. Things don't work that way in the Caribbean. People get to know each other over a long, period of time before they put rings on fingers. I would advise you to give yourself at least 6 months, 1 year, however long it takes, to find out if this person really truly want you. Does this person need a European passport? Do they need to go to America? Is there an agenda? All these things you need to find out, because a lot of these marriages end up in total heartbreak. So you have to be very careful when you're thinking about marrying someone from another country. Pointless rushing to marry someone that you've met on holiday. Everything is beautiful, everything is rosy, when you actually don't know each other fully. You need to know about the person's personality. Are you compatible? They have a term in Jamaica which says, "See me and live with me." And for those of you who don't understand, it means you don't actually know a person until you actually live with them. I've known of cases where people have been in long-distance relationship and the other party, the person from the so-called third world country, expect them to support them financially, support their family, and it goes on, and it's really endless. I also know of people who have sent for their significant other from another country, and when the person actually reaches the West, there is a total different form of behavior. I've also known of people who have come to the West and they have their girlfriends or their wives in another country, and eventually behind the person's back they end up sending for that woman. So basically that is just pure deception. This is why it's so important, if you're in that position today, check. Weigh up the pros and the cons. Do you actually know this person? Don't be blinded by love. Don't let your heart rule your head. If you really want to avoid a heartbreak, you need to get to know this person over time. Check out if they have an agenda. And if you find that somebody is just totally depending on you to send them funds, send them monies, if they are so needy, do you really want to be with somebody who's going to depend on you for the rest of their lives? Are you a meal ticket? These are the things that you really need to consider. So write yourself a list of the pros and cons. What is good about your relationship? What is not so good about your relationship? Where do you see yourself in the future with this person? How are you going to find out if this person really, really love you and they are not after a European or an American passport? So guys, thank you for tuning in today and learning about the pros and cons of long distance relationship, especially where there is a vast age difference. Whether you're currently in a long distance relationship or considering entering one, we hope that you find these tips helpful in navigating the unique challenges that comes with this type of relationship dynamic. If you would like to share your stories anonymously, please contact me at gambiagoodlife@gmail.com. Or if you would like to share your story in the comments, please go ahead and do so. Whatever you share with us, I'm sure it will be helpful for those who are contemplating these type of relationships. We hope that you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more informative content, and we'll see you next time.